The news coming out of ESPN from Don Van Natta, you know when Don and Jeff Passan are involved, something's happening. Well, it turns out that the federal government, the feds, law enforcement, when they're investigating something maybe bad, agencies are investigating the MLB Players Association's youth baseball venture that spent millions of dollars for only a few events. Let me explain why this is a big deal. If you're a federal law enforcer and you find out, if you're a federal law officer and you find out that, hey, there's a company that looks to be perpetuating some sort of fraud, and then you find out that it's owned by the Players Association and that they spent about $4 million holding what were only a few events attended by a few kids, that's going to be an issue. It's back to this company called Players Way. Players Way is a Florida-based business because, of course, it is. And they barely generate any revenue, but they get a lot of money put into it by the union. So the question is, who's getting the money out? Do you remember when players start foundations and we would always counsel all players to give money to certain charities, but please do not start your own foundation and put your brother, cousin, and aunt and uncle. It's not about Nepo. It's about when you pay people to do something that is really a fake job. When you are given a no-show contract, Kawhi Leonard style, you're going to get in trouble. So if this company, Players Way, is going to pay out salaries to people and they don't work, and those salaries are former major leaguers, and they are not working for their money, you're going to get caught. And it looks like these players are getting caught. And by the way, this involves Tony Clark. Tony Clark is the head of the Major League Baseball Players Association. Tony Clark is the guy that we've talked about on this show as having held together from a coup. Remember when he and Bruce Mayer were going to be pushed out of the union and they managed to hold it off? Tony Clark's name has been mentioned in various sundry ways for participating in various self-enriching, nefarious activities. Tony Clark had to release a statement. Any suggestion that Players Way has not been supported by our elected player representatives and broader membership is patently false. What does that mean? That means don't accuse me of doing anything. The players all approve this. I'm here to serve the players. The player reps did it. All right, quickly, go ask your team player rep, your team rep, whether they've heard of Players Way. It's all a joke. But anyway, his statement continued. Players Way has been front and center at every annual meeting of the association. Our dialogue with players regarding youth development continues throughout the calendar. What is he saying? Why is he talking like this? He's being very simple. He wants you to know that anything that would say that I got money or that other people got money or I directed money to certain people that no one knew about, they're lying to you because all these players knew about it. Everyone in the union knew about it. If I did an interview right now of 26 guys at 30 teams, just for fun, if we did, 780 players, my guess is the number of players who have heard of Players Way, it's under 10% at most. And that's at most. Why do I say it? Because players don't pay much attention to anything from their union. They don't pay attention to much of anything from their front office. We can have meetings. There can be memos. And you know what? They're young. They're rich. Some of them, or they all think they are. They're living their lives. They're going out. They're doing what 22, 24, 26, 28, 30-year-olds do. They don't want to focus on pension benefits, ERISA benefits. They don't want to focus on anything other than pleasure. And listen, I'm all in favor of hedonism. Who wouldn't be? So to then have to say that I run the players union and I run it by talking to all the players and all the executive reps. I am the one in charge, except they are the one who are informed and I serve at their pleasure. That would be like the commissioner of baseball standing up and saying, the owners know everything I do. We didn't know half the stuff the commissioner does because we didn't pay attention. Now, they would send us a memo. We'd have meetings where half the guys would be on their phone, the other half would be doodling dawdles on their notebook. Even in the committees, you've got focus, but not for too long. Where's our next snack coming from? When you elect people to be in charge of you, pay attention. Pay attention because they're going to do things without you. Have you noticed that at all in politics? I'm just throwing it out there. Not pro, not anti, just asking. When you elect someone, are you paying attention to everything the elected official is doing? There are people who are. The watchdogs, the people who have a large voice and a small platform, they're paying attention. And guess what? The rest of us, we don't care much. That's the same thing in sports. There's a few players, Max Scherzer, Scott Boras, who pay attention. The majority don't. Timing, Coca. Timing, Coca. The timing of this story during the World Series, when off-season begins no later than Saturday night, when negotiations for a new collective bargaining agreement are going to start this off-season. Timing, Coca. You want the union to be in as weak a position as possible. You want leadership to be reaching like cats as they snap at yarns all over the place because then they're missing the big rock that's about to hit them between the eye. Boop! You want unrest. You want tumult. This is a story that is very beneficial to the owners.